I want to ask you a little bit more about that.
Oh, okay.
All of you, actually. The idea of what characteristics do people who come to the farm or people that you might hire, what constitutes a successful match, or what characteristics do successful hires have in common?
They keep coming back and say they really want a job. That's been my experience. It's it's hard work, and you have to somehow I recognize a passion, whether it's a high schooler and it's their first job, or whether it's a retired person that really wants to keep outside and keep working. So those are the things that have led me to see successful help.
Our farm is a CSA. Do you all know what a CSA is? Does somebody not know? So CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and it's a type of farming where people come together and they are a membership, and they finance the farm for a year. And in a situation like that, there's a lot more to say about that, we can all say about, but on a CSA, which our farm is, there's a very important element of people. So rather than just growing our vegetables and taking them away, on our farm, we grow the vegetables, but our members come to the farm every week once the picking begins. And so there will be 2 days a week on our farm where that happens, and there'll be sometimes 100 people that come. So our workers have to be good with people, and that's important as well. They have to have love for the earth and a tenderness of the plant care, and also work well when it gets sweaty and dirty, and work hard. So it's a tricky thing to be able to be a vigorous worker and also be tender with people, but that's what I think works good.
I think we've gotten surprised over the years, and we've gotten challenged too. We happen to have a work background that, is very production oriented. We grew up that way. Our childhood and our various occupations leading up to farming were like that. And I think that's very useful in a farm setting. But then I think we've discovered over the years that we need to be more open to different types of people and the ways they express themselves in the workplace. Certainly we've got lots of work to do. There's no question about that. But then there's the type of person that might not be that physically adept or coordinated in some way. Maybe they didn't grow up learning that, but they can somehow get into the fold of the farm, and through interacting with the other people and working in synergy, find their own place in it. And so I think Rich was talking a little bit about that. That's the kind of environment that we've been trying to foster over the years. And so it's hard to, we've gone away from pigeonholing people, basically. And that's been nice. It's been more creative for us.
I would tell you really quick a story. We had a worker one year who had cerebral palsy, and this fellow, gosh, he had one of the biggest smiles I've ever seen on a human, and it wasn't just this smile. His whole being was a joyful being, and he sometimes would fall, and he'd just pick himself up and brush himself off and then just get on with things, and only one side of his body worked well, so he was really strong with that one side, and he could carry things, but we could find a way to work with it. But the biggest thing was he would try and had a good spirit about it, and that's what we always look for.
Do you have anything to add, Richard, about what's successful for you?
Well, yeah, that sounds a lot like our situation in what, just that everybody has a particular style, and if they're willing to work or be focused or engaged in how it is they are, generally it seems like there's some place for them on the farm. Whether it's, if they like to clean, there's plenty of space around there to clean up in the packing shed or in the house or washing dishes. And, maybe they're not able to do, other things, but, they want to be focused. And so that's, over the long term, I guess, looking for, people that just want to be engaged and focused on that level and get along well with everybody, and it's a very interesting dynamic because we're all in it together. If somebody's having problems or if people are having problems with each other, it has to be worked out. So it's kind of like a small town in that sense, that you learn to work things out. And there's a beginning and an end to a season. Sometimes people will return, but there are those seasonal punctuations where there's a coming and a going every year. Some people, if their background is in sports, they're used to practicing and really rocking out like an athlete. They're right in there doing their thing. Other people, maybe they're an artist and they're making beautiful bouquets or herbs or bunches. They're not as production oriented, but they're adding that to the situation. So we sort of can benefit from each other in this context. I think, if you look at a business abstract, you want to create the definition of a job and then put the word out there and try and have somebody come in to fulfill that position. Say in the case on the farm, if we have some mechanical difficulty, who is it that we know that we can tap to come and fix our problem? And for us, a lot of that, if it's a tractor that's broken or, something that needs mechanical repair, my wife's brother, Kevin, is very good in that way. But, there's other people, if he's busy too, that we can enlist, for that specific skill. So that's, I think, if we were able to create an abstract, of what it is exactly we're doing on the farm, we could just throw out, well, we need this skill, and, see who steps forward. But for many of the positions on the farm, there's many skills that are involved in many levels. So.
Did you have something you want to say, Paul?
Yeah, just briefly restate your question.
The question was, if you could talk about what characteristics successful hires have in common.
I wanted to say I liked something that Rich brought up in the previous question, and that was he brought up the importance on their farm of people creating food together, cooking food, and I really like that quality about his farm, and we have an element of that as well, and I think that's an important part of an answer to this question too, is that most of the folks that come are, if they're not already seriously interested in their diet and or improving their diet and its relationship to the environment, they quickly become that way, just from being in the fold of the farm and around the other folks. So that's an important quality, I think, in someone who hires there and stays for the long haul. They get real interested in their food.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'd say also an important quality would be somebody that, is very interested in organic production or sustainable agriculture and has that as a value. So there's that foundation there. Sure, I mean, that's very, very good in some ways, that that's in their background. And, you know, if they don't have the skill to cook or to garden, you know, it doesn't take very long that we're working together and people learn that stuff.
I want to ask you a little bit more about the specifics of the hiring process. So one extreme is you let the HR department know that you have an opening and you accept resumes and rank the candidates and schedule the interviews. And another extreme might be the sort of adoption model, where a friend of yours comes and starts working with you for a while, and pretty soon they're part of the family. And I'm guessing that for all of you, the way that somebody comes to work with you might be somewhere in between, but I'm curious about what some of the specifics of how that happens, how they get in touch with you. Is there an interview process, and how does that work?
So the bulk of the work on my farm is around apples, and I have usually adults. It's the same adults come picking time. It's the same adults who come back. And then more recently, I've tapped in the last several years to a farm, a strawberry conventional vegetable growing large scale farm, and they have migrant help. And it has worked out very nice. Apple picking is very hard work, and to hang in there and do it, you got to be physically no getting around it. You know, the apples got to be picked, and so I tapped into the labor that is from that farm.
So someone would get in touch with
So it's
you?
kind of a different situation than I think in Paul Ann's and Richard's farm. Yeah.
And how about for you both?
On our farm, because we have a few animals, we have 2 cows and 3 goats and cats and chickens and bees. There's something to do every day, all year round. But the bulk of our work doesn't start really until April, May. So on our farm, we have, as I said, people that come all the time. So we have volunteers that will come from November, December, January, February, even in March, that come and help us with the animal chores. Our paid positions pretty much begin April and May. And because we want to start then, people can come and meet with us early in the season, like in February, January, talk to us. And we always have people come and work before we take them on, because for many people, the fit has to be right. Even if you've been a farm worker before, you might or might not resonate with our farm. And so we always ask that people come and work some on our farm before they begin as a hired worker. And some people will come for a year and just feel it every once in a while, just to get a feel for it. And that's a wonderful thing too, just to know that you want to